Some report. Okay, we're on Daf Zayin Amud Aleph. On the bottom of Daf Zayin Amud Aleph, second to the last line on the page, and in English 784 in the art scroll. The Mishnah earlier told us, actually one of the Braithot told us, Ve'en nir'in hatzain, and they should not appear in groups. Rather, they have to appear together. What does this mean? We have a pasuk that says, Yira'eh kol zechurecha. All your males shall be seen. What does this mean? Rav Yosef thought to say, Man banim, someone who has 10 sons, lo lisku, ha'idna hamisha, ulmahar hamisha, should not take up today 5 boys, 5 sons today, and then the next day he brings another 5. Maybe that's what it means. All 10 have to show up at the same time. Amar le Abaye, Shita. It cannot be this way. He minahu mishavet lahu poshim. Vehe minahu mashavet lahu zirizin. How can he decide which one will become those who make the Avirah and come late, and those who come on time? Meaning, it's not his choice. Every person has to come up to the Mikdash on time. Not even the father has authority to tell him to come late. So you don't need a pasuk to tell us this. So ela kera lemay ata lichd ahirim. Like we saw what the ahirim said. We saw them say it earlier on Dav Dalin. The Tanya ahirim omrim ham kametz. Someone who gathers dog excrement. V'ham tariv nehoshin. Someone who smells copper. V'habursi. And the tanner. All these 3 jobs, they emit a foul odor. Pituhin min hari'ah. They are potter from the ri'ah. They are potter going up to ri'ah. Shneimar calls zechurecha. It says all the males. Mi sheyachol la'alot im kol zechurecha. All those males who can be together. Yatzu elosh and yochil la'alot im kol zechurecha. Come to exclude these who have such bad odors that no one can stand next to them. Therefore, they are potter from going up to the mitzvah of ri'ah. The Rambam, interesting, doesn't bring the halacha this way. The Rambam says, yeah, technically, or so we understand the Rambam, that technically you're right. These people are potter from because they smell and they can't be with kol zechuricha. However, says the Rambam, so let them go and take a shower. Let them go get themselves maybe put some perfume on and make themselves look some better, smell better, and then they're going to be mechuyev. In the state of odor, yes, they're potter, but they can clean themselves up, and they should go, and they have to go. Okay, so that we already saw. So now we're starting a new Mishnah. The idea is as follows. The Mishnah wants to tell us, can I use my ma'aser money to buy the korbanot that I need to bring up, or that is brought up, take away the word need, that's brought up when a person goes up to be Ola L'Regel, and he's going up to Ola Sriya. Can he use Maser money? Which Maser money we're talking about? We're talking about the Mishnah of Maser Sheni money. Okay, a person has produce, he has to bring it up to Jerusalem, and if he can't bring it up, he's paid it. He redeems it on money, and then he takes the money up and he spends it on food and drink in Jerusalem. So here I'm coming to Jerusalem, and I have to eat some of the meat there, so I have simcha. So can I use my Maser Sheni money, which I have to use on food and drink in Jerusalem? Can I use it on these korbanot? So let's take a look at the Mishnah. And there's one more principle. There's a principle that we have, and we'll see in the Gemara as well, called davar shebechova enuba elu menachun. Anything that you're obligated to bring has to be brought from your money. Has to be brought from your own personal funds. You cannot use Meiser money. You can't use Meiser money to bring something that you personally have a chiyuv to bring. Okay. So let's start. The Mishnah says, Olot Ba'moed. You bring the Olat Re'iyah, which is entirely to Hashem. There's no eating to it. That has to come on the Chol Moed. It says in the Mishnah, Olot Ba'moed. Ba'ot Benachulin. They have to come from your own money. Okay? One, it's a chov. right? You're obligated to bring. Everyone who comes out the mikdash has to bring the olat riyah. So anything that's a chov, an obligation, you cannot use meiser money. So definitely you have to bring it from chulin. Also, the Tarso says, also olat is completely burned to Hashem, so you're not eating it. Meiser sheni money has to be spent on stuff you're going to eat in Jerusalem. So you're not eating it in Jerusalem. Because the olah is completely burned. So you can't use the Meiser Sheni money. Fine. Two reasons. Why does it say olot on Chol HaMoed? What about olot on Yom Tov? Well, take a look at that in the Gemara. V'hashlamim min ha'maaser. Now the shlamim, what's the shlamim? The shlamim is the shalmei simcha. Basically, it's extra karbonis that I can bring in order to have more meat, to have more simcha on Yom Tov. If I had enough meat without the carbon, without the shlamei simcha, I don't need to bring the shlamei simcha. The shlamei simcha is only brought if I need more meat. As it is optional and it's not obligated, and it's going to be eaten in Jerusalem, a person is allowed to use his meiser sheni money for the shlamei simcha. Fine. Continues the Mishnah. What about the korban Chagiga? So we have olat riyah. We know we cannot use the meiser sheni money. It's not eaten, and it's a chov. We have the Shalmei Simcha. It's not a chov, it's not an obligation, and it's eaten in Jerusalem, so you can use your Meiser Sheni money. What about the Korban Chagiga? Korban Chagiga, how do you view it? Yom Tov, Rishon Shel Pesach. So the Mishnah is picking on Yom Tov, Rishon Shel Pesach, but it's really any Yom Tov that he has to bring in Korban Chagiga. Okay, why Mishnah says Yom Tov, Rishon Shel Pesach? We'll see in the Gemara shortly. Bet Shammai Omrim Menacholin. You're mechuyev to bring it. It's an obligation. And if it's an obligation to bring a carbon chagiga, right? The carbon re'iyah, the olas re'iyah, and the carbon chagiga are obligations. You must bring both. So the carbon chagiga is a must bring, so then it has to be from Kulin. The Beit Hillel Oimrim, and Beit Hillel says, Min ha'ma'aser. It can come from the ma'aser. Now, we're going to see this means that Beit Hillel means min ha'ma'aser means some of it can come from ma'aser, not all of it. Meaning there is a chov part to it. It has to be chulin. And then apparently there's a part of it that you can get more, and you can use Meiser Sheni money for that. But we'll see that all in the Gemara. Let's continue in our Mishnah. Yisrael yoitzin yidei chovotan. Yisrael could be yoitzim his chova of simcha by eating meat, by eating any of these korbanot. Bindarim, undavot, umaaser behemam. If he makes a neder, I have to bring up a carbon. Undavot, I have to bring up this carbon, this animal. Umaaser behema. You have a lot of animals. You put them through the pen. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is yours. The 10th one you mark with a red dye. And this one goes to Meiser behema. And this one is brought up to the mikdash. So you eat part of it. That can also be meat that you're using on the chag to be besimcha. Any meat from any carbon, any meat is good. For example, by the kohanim, when the kohanim, if someone brings the chatot v'ashamot, right, the carbon chatas that the kohanim eat apart, ashamot the carbon the kohanim eat apart, u'bechor, and they bring them the behema bechor that they have to give to the kohen, u'bechazav v'shoik, and in the carbon chagiga and other stuff that they give part of it to the kohanim. All that is meat that the kohanim can eat. So therefore, it's meat that the kohanim can eat. It can fulfill their obligation of simcha on the chag, on the holiday. And but not with birds and not with mincha offerings, because there's only simchat yom tov with basar, with meat. So if they brought birds as korbanot, the kohen cannot be yotzeh his simcha with birds, and cannot be yotzeh his simcha just with bread. Okay, so now the Gemara is going to analyze the Mishnah that we just went through. The Mishnah said you bring the olot on Chol HaMoed, the olot re'iyah. They have to bring. They come to the Mishkan. They come to the base of Mikdash. It says to bring it on Chol HaMoed. What? Oh, so how do you understand this Mishnah? Why does it say olot HaMoed? Do you think only the olat that you bring on Chol HaMoed has to come from Kulin? How about Yom Tov min ha'maaser? but Yom Tov can come from Maaser. Maybe that's what the Mishnah means. When you bring Olot on the Chol Hamoed, it has to come from your own money. But if you bring Olot on Yom Tov, it could come from your Maaser Sheni money. But how could that be? Amai, why would you think that? Something that you have to bring. Everyone who comes to English has to bring Olaria. And if you have to bring it, if it's something that you have to bring from your regular money. You cannot use Maaser Sheni money. You have to use regular money. Now, maybe you think, why just say Olot B'Moed? Maybe the Mishnah is teaching you only bring the Olat Re'iyah on Chol Hamoed and you don't bring it on the first day of the Yom Tov. Come on, and who is this opinion going like? Bet Shammai. Bet Shammai holds you do not bring the Olat Re'iyah on Yom Tov. Rather, you bring it on Chol Hamoed. Ditnan, Bet Shammai Omrim. Maybe in Shlamim, you can bring a Shlamim on Yom Tov, then Somchim Alein. But you cannot do Semicha, where you lean on the animal, because you're not allowed to, there's a Gzer Darbanan, you cannot use animals on Shabbos and Yom Tov, so you cannot lean on it on Yom Tov, rather you do it before. He doesn't hold it has to be done right away. Then Somchim Alein, but you can bring the Shlamim. Because why you can bring the Shlamim? The Shlamim, we know on Yom Tov, you're allowed to do stuff for food, to eat. So since you're going to eat it, you're allowed to bring it. Avalo Olot, but you cannot bring the Olot, says the Bet Shammai. Why? Olot is not eaten by the person. Olot is completely brought up to Hashem. So how could I do it on Yom Tov? In Yom Tov, I can only do stuff that's Tzarech Nefesh, Tzarech Achila. And this is not Tzarech Achila. Therefore, Bet Shammai does not let a person bring Olot on Yom Tov. Bet Hillel Mumnim, but Bet Hillel says, and Allah is like Bet Hillel, maybe in Shlamim Olot, V'Somchin Aleihen. When the Torah said you can do only things that you need for the Yom Tov, understood it, Beit Hillel, that includes Olat Re'iyah. And since you have to bring Olat Re'iyah, and you have to bring the Shlomim, on Yom Tov, you can even lean on the animal on Yom Tov, even though it's exactly Ramadan, we are allowed to do it, because we have to do it. That's the way you have to bring the Kurban. So it cannot be the Mishnah like Beit Shammai, when it says just bring it on the Chol Hamoed, because we know the halacha is like Beit Hillel, and the Mishnah is going like Beit Hillel. So how do we understand this Mishnah? So here comes the explanation of the Mishnah. Hasurei mehsara ma'achikitane. It is as if the Mishnah is missing words. The Mishnah was made in such a way that it's missing some words, so you have to know what's going on here. Let's take a look. This is the way it should be taught. Olot nidarim undavot ba'moed ba'ot. If someone is bringing up a different type of Ola, he promised to bring an Ola during the year. He made a neder, he made a nadava, a vow, and a swear. He said, I'm going to bring up an Ola. Since that Ola is not required to be brought up on Yom Tov, it's not allowed to be brought up on Yom Tov, you have to bring it on Chol Hamoed. But Yom Tov and about, you cannot bring it on Yom Tov. It has nothing to do with Yom Tov. So therefore, it cannot be brought on Yom Tov. The Olat Re'iyah, but the Olat Re'iyah, which the Torah says you have to come with the Olat Re'iyah when you come to the Mikdash on Yom Tov. Ba'a, I feel by Yom Tov. You can bring it even on Yom Tov, because it's required to be brought on that day. So you can bring it. U'Shehiba, and when you bring Olat Re'iyah on Yom Tov, Eina Ba'a, Eina Min HaChulin. It has to be brought only from your own money, because it's your own obligation, and you cannot eat it. So it's not Ma'aser Sheni money. It's not able to be eat, and as a chova, you cannot use Ma'aser Sheni money. The Shamei Simcha, but the Shamei Simcha, the extra korbanot you bring for extra meat, buying af min Ma'aser, you could bring it from Ma'aser because it's optional, and you're going to eat it in Jerusalem. No problem. You can bring it from the Ma'aser money. You got Yom Tov, but the korban Chagiga that you bring on the first day of Yom Tov, Bet Shammai Omrim, it's a chov, so Mina Chulin, you have to bring it from Chulin, from your own money. Bet Hillel Omrim, Mina Ma'aser, you have to bring it from, part of it you can bring from Ma'aser Sheni, and we'll see what that means shortly. Tanina Mehachi, we have a brighter that teaches the Mishnah the way we just taught it. Olot Nidarim Udavot. If an Ola unrelated to Yom Tov, you cannot bring it on Yom Tov. You bring it on Chol Hamoed. But Yom Tov in Ba'ot. But Olat Re'iyah. But Olat Re'iyah, which you're mechuyev to bring on the first day of Yom Tov, Ba'ah fil Yom Tov. You can bring it even on Yom Tov. When you bring it, And you have to bring it from your own money because it is your own obligation and it's not going to be eaten. But shal me simcha, which is an optional carbon, but I don't really need it, so therefore I can bring it from Ma'aser Sheni, and it's going to be eaten in Jerusalem. I can bring it from Ma'aser Sheni money. But the carbon chagiga is machloki. It says it's a chov you have to bring from chulin. Beit Hillel says min hamaaser it can be brought from Ma'aser Sheni. Okay, so now the first question is why does it say in the Mishnah and why does it say in the Braita? Why does it keep saying Chagigat Yom Tov Rishon Shel Pesach? Every other Chagiga also same halacha. So why does it say Chagigat Yom Tov Rishon Shel Pesach? So Amar Rashi, Hakam Ashkenan, Chagigat Hamisha Asar En, Chagigat Abasar Lo, Chagigat Abasar Lo. Okay, so let's take a look at the note 32. Note 33, I'm sorry. Note 33 is as follows. In addition to the Chagiga prescribed for every coming up Ola Regel, Pesach had an extra Chagiga known as Chagigat Yudalit. The sacrifice is brought only under a particular set of circumstances. If a large number of people eat the Pesach offering together, each receives a small portion that would not completely satisfy him. It is preferable, though, that the Pesach bring one to a sense of full satiation. Right? You have to eat it al hasova when you're full. Therefore, they offer a Chagiga on the 14th of Nisan and eat it before the Pesach. So the Pesach brings them to full satiation. By specifying the first day of Pesach, the Mishnah and Braita seek to imply that only the regular Chagiga, which is brought on that day, need to be bought, at least partially, according to Beit Hillel, with chulin money. But the additional Chagiga, which is over the previous day, which is like the Shalmei Simcha, may be brought entirely with Ma'aser Sheni money. Okay? So that's exactly what's happening here. You have the Chagiga of the Korban Pesach that needs to be bought with at least chulin or according to Beit Shammai, or partially with chulin according to Beit Hillel. But the Chagiga Abbasa, the Chagiga that you brought before, in order to you should eat meat and be more full, and this way eat the Korban Pesach ala sova, that one is considered optional because you don't really need it. Because if your Pesach offering had enough meat that you're full from it, you don't have to get another korban. So therefore, it's considered optional. And as it's optional, you can use your Ma'aser money. Alma Kisaver. We go to Dav Chesam and Aleph. Chagigat Abasar Lav de Oraita. The Chagigat of the 14th, the extra one that we bring, the early one for make a person more full, it's not the Oraita. If it's not the Oraita, it's not subject to being a Chovah. If it's not a Chovah, you can use Ma'aser money for it. Amama. We said in the Braita, Bet Hillel Omrim Mina Ma'aser. You bring the carbon Chagiga, you can bring it from Ma'aser Sheni money. Amai, why should this be? It is mandatory. And if it's an obligatory, right, it has to come from your own money. Amarullah, no, what it means is betofel. It means in supplement. That means Beit Hillel holds, yes, part of it has to be chulin, but past the minimum obligation for chulin, you can use maaser money. What is the minimum obligation according to Beit Hillel? He said for the Korban Chagiga, you have to use 2 silver coins, right? Whatever they were worth in that time, 2 silver coins. So you can get a bigger Korban Chagiga, or even more Korban Chagigot, with more money, and that extra money past the 2 coins can be from Ma'aser. Now, how do you do this? Chizki Amar, Chizki Amar, Toflim Behema Levehema, Vein Toflim Ma'ot Lemaot. You should buy many different animals. First animal should have 2 coins of silver, and that is your chulin. And then the additional animals, you can use Ma'aser Sheni money. But he doesn't want you to buy one animal that's very fat and it costs 5 coins, and this way you have 2 chulin coins and 3 Ma'aser Sheni coins. He doesn't want you to do that. He wants you to have it. Here's the chov, and here's the voluntary one. Rabbi Yochanan says no. Rabbi Yochanan says, listen, we want you to get one big animal, put 2 chulin coins, and use 3 Meiser Sheni coins, whatever it is, whatever the mix is. That's the way to do it. So machloket, and the halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan. The Rambam is like Rabbi Yochanan. Tanaka wait to the Chizkiah, the Mistor in the Beit like Chizkiah. Tanaka wait to Rabbi Yochanan, and the Beit like Rabbi Yochanan. Tanaka wait to Rabbi Yochanan. It says in pasuk misat, right? As it says, "V'asitach shavuot la'Hashem Elokecha misat nidvat eidecha." Asher titen kasher yivrecha Hashem Elokecha. So misat, we're going to learn, means from your own chulin money, from your own regular money. He has to bring it from his regular money, not money that's already sanctified for the Mikdash. How you know if he wants to mix, he can mix. He can mix his money with another money. At the end of the pasuk says, like Hashem has blessed you. Hashem has blessed you even with Maaser Sheni. So even the Maaser Sheni could be used. So it's a drasa, and it's money to money. Tani kaveh to Chizkiah. You have a brighter like Rabbi Chizkiah. It says misat. He has to bring it from chulin. How do I know I can mix it? The Bet Shammai omrim yom rishon min chulin. Same way they learned arev, you can also learn kasher Hashem lekecha. But now he's going to say as follows: Bet Shammai omrim yom rishon min chulin. The first day you bring the Shammai Chagiga, you bring it from chulin. Okay, mikam ve'elech. But when you bring the Shammai Simcha, min ha'maaser, it could be from the maaser. Ubetel omrim no achila rishona min chulin. The first amount, the first animal you bring, right? The first consumption, that has to be from chulin. Even if they're born on the same day, kam ve'elech min ha'maaser. Ushar kol yemot ha'pesach, adam yotzei yedei chovato b'maaser behima. The person can fulfill his obligation of simcha even from eating maaser behima. Why only on Yom Tov? But Yom Tov might have a law. Why not on Yom Tov can you bring maaser behima? Amar Rav Ashi. Perhaps he's going to come to do the maaser itself, the separation of the animals on Yom Tov. And when you do that, you let 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 animals out. And the 10th one, you go ahead and you put a red dye on it. And maybe he's going to do that separation on Yom Tov. And you're going to put the red dye. You're not allowed to put a red dye on Yom Tov. Therefore, you cannot do the separation. And we'll end up with this last piece of the Gemara. How we know that misat Lishnad de chulinhu means money that's not been set aside for the Mikdash. How do I know that? He put a tax on the land, and you don't pay taxes with money from something else, hektish money or money somewhere else. You pay taxes with chulin money, with money that free money, so to speak. And therefore, we learn from here that misat, person has to use his own money for something that is a chok. So really what comes out here, according to Beit Hillel, according to Halakha, is as follows. Olat Re'iyah, you bring it on Yom Tov, no problem, like the Beit Hillel, and it has to be completely from your chulin money, as it is not eaten, so you can't use Maaser Sheni, and it's obligatory, you have to use your own money. When it comes to the Shalmei Simcha, the extra korbanot that the person brings, everyone agrees, it can be from the Maaser money because it's optional, and you can eat in Jerusalem. You can use Maaser Sheni money. When it comes to the Korban Chagiga, there is a machloket, but la halacha we hold like Beit Hillel. And Beit Hillel says you have to use 2 coins, and we're going to learn like Rabbi Yochanan in Beit Hillel, which means it's one animal. You buy a nice big animal. You use 2 coins, silver coins, the minimum amount that you have to spend on the Korban Chagiga. You use chulin money, regular money. And then the additional money to make up the difference in the cost can be Maaser Sheni money because that's at that point it's already considered voluntary, so to speak. And you're eating in Jerusalem, and then each bite will have in it the chulin and the Maaser Sheni, and all of it will be on the same animal. And that is the halacha lemaaseh regarding those 3 korbanot and its money that can be spent. Okay, is that the same? Next week we will pick up. Actually, next week we won't pick up because it's going to be Tisha B'Av. So we'll figure out how we're going to do it. Okay? We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Yeah, Shavuot Tov.